Hi team, I wanted to do a quick video to talk to you a little bit about customers and when they contact you talking about how the products aren't working for them or they're not losing weight, they've gained weight, the different issues that they have, and just give you a few pointers and questions that you can ask them to kind of find out exactly what's going on. And first, the main thing to remember is that Plexus is not a magic pill, and it is not intended to be some quick weight loss thing that happens, within a couple of weeks and they drop a ton of weight, and it's just not, that's not what Plexus is about. The way it works is on our insides to get us healthy from the inside out. And this takes time. It's not something that's immediate, and you don't want something that's really fast because those kind of results don't last. So, some of the things to ask them. First of all, the first question I would start with when someone contacts you and says, the products aren't working, I'm not losing weight, or I've gained weight, is to ask them if they're taking their products regularly. And by regularly, that means every single day, like they're supposed to. If they're doing the Slim, that they're drinking it every day. If they're taking the ProBio 5 and the Bio Cleanse, that they're doing it every day. That they're not, skipping 3 or 4 days a week and expecting it to work, because it won't work that way. You have to be consistent with it. So ask them if they're taking the products consistently, and then find out how they're taking them. Are they, mixing the Slim the way they're supposed to? Are they taking the ProBio 5 and the Bio Cleanse at nighttime before bed? That is when it works the best for the ProBio 5 and the Bio Cleanse, because the digestive system is at rest, and so it can get in there and do work without food coming in behind it. So ask them about that. And for some people, taking the Bio Cleanse during the day works better for them. They like to take it between meals, and that's okay. But for the most part, taking it at night, the ProBio 5 and the Bio Cleanse at night is the best way to do it. So ask them about that. Ask them about their water intake. Find out, and don't accept, oh, I'm drinking plenty of water, because no, I don't accept that. How much are you drinking? Are you drinking half your weight in ounces of water daily, up to about 100 ounces? Are you doing that? Are you keeping track of it? Someone telling you, oh, I'm drinking enough water, oh, I drink plenty of water, that's not a good gauge of how much water they're drinking, just telling you that they are. I have a water bottle, 32 ounces, and I know that I need to drink 4 of these a day. Now, I drink more than half my weight in ounces of water daily, but that water bottle is a good way for me to gauge, okay, how many times have I filled this up today? It's 32 ounces. It's a great way to keep up with it. So recommending a water bottle, because, the small water bottles, the 16 ounces, people can do that. But a lot of times you can really get bogged down with it, trying to keep up with how many you've had. And it's just easier to have a big water bottle that you can reach for and refill to keep you on track with your water. And then something that goes along with water, when someone has not been drinking enough water and they have not been hydrated properly, well, when you start drinking enough water and you get hydrated, you can gain weight because your body is hydrated the way it's supposed to be. So that can add pounds, which is just from proper hydration and not really about fat gain. And also keep in mind that our natural weight fluctuates, about 4 pounds during the day. It can be up and down by as much as 4 pounds any time during the day. That does not mean that you've gained 4 pounds. It just means that it fluctuates, and that's part of the natural process of our bodies. So keep that in mind and recommend and tell your customers about that, just so they can be mindful of it. It's not a good idea to weigh every day. I would even recommend not weighing for a month, just because you don't want to be focused on the weight, because there are so many other things going on inside the body that are being helped that are not showing up on the scale. We call those non-scale victories. If they're sleeping better, if they are having more appetite control, if they're having energy and not feeling that slump in the middle of the afternoon or needing a nap, things like that. All of those, if they're losing inches, you can lose inches, you can lose a lot of inches and not ever see the scale move much at all. And excuse me, it's because of the way Plexus works. And when you start getting healthy and your body starts working the way it's supposed to, those fat cells shrink. And so they're shrinking and you're losing inches and you're getting smaller, but that doesn't necessarily mean that anything has changed on the scale. So remember that, and don't be so focused on the weight when you're talking to customers. That's something that will help as well, is to not, and please don't tell them, oh, you can take Plexus and you don't have to change your diet at all. Even if you've lost weight and not had to change your diet, or someone has been able to do that, don't make that what you tell people about Plexus, because that's not the way it's intended to work. It's intended to help us make changes in our daily life that help us be able to become healthier. So, and some people may be able to, for a while, eat whatever they want and take Plexus and still lose weight, but it will come to a point where they won't be able to do that anymore. They will have to make some changes. So just don't set your customers up for failure by letting them think that they're not going to have to change anything. And also, another important thing is to find out if there are any underlying medical issues that they have. And that's one of the first questions I always ask, because I want to know, are they on any kind of heart medication? Do they take high blood pressure medication? Because that lets you know what products to recommend and what products to tell them they need to stay away from. You don't want to recommend the Boost or the Accelerator that have natural stimulants in them to someone who has high blood pressure. So you need to ask those questions and find out, what kind of things they're dealing with, if they take medications, just so you know how to help them best, and to be able to find testimonies that will help them. In our Pink Powered Testimonies group, you can add any customer to that. If you're a friend with them on Facebook, you can add them to that group. And you can search for their specific issue in the group, and then you can tag them in it so that they can read about it. Don't share the testimonies outside of the group. You can private message it to someone, but we're not supposed to share them out in public on our Facebook pages. But use that testimony group to find testimonies, because there are a ton of testimonies that talk about specific issues and how someone didn't lose weight overnight, or they dropped a ton of inches and only lost 5 pounds in 4 months, or, that's just an example. But there are a lot of testimonies that talk about that type of thing. So there's a lot of things that you can use, a lot of things that you can point them to help them be patient and to see that it takes time for it to work. And, Plexus is, excuse me, it helps us with appetite control. I know it helps me, because I notice when I forget to take it on Sundays, that's usually the only day that happens because I'm so busy. At the end of the day, I'll say, oh, wow, I'm really hungry. I want to eat everything in the house. And I know it's because I missed my Plexus. So I know for a fact that it helps control appetite for me. And so, it helps control appetite. So we need to be mindful that we're not eating through our Plexus. And what that means is knowing that we're not really hungry for something, but just eating it anyway because it's there. So these are just some tips that you can use when talking to your customers. I have been doing this for almost 2 years, and I have not had anyone return anything. I've had people quit, for sure, yes. But when they did, they told me that they knew they weren't doing it right, or they weren't drinking their water like they should, or they weren't dedicated like they should. And so, maybe they were going to come back or something like that. But I've never had anyone quit because I said it didn't work. I have been very particular about teaching my customers, and giving them the information, having them go through trial groups, letting them know it's not a lose weight quick thing, and letting them know, the things that they need to do, informing them about gut health. That's a big thing. And if someone has bad digestion and their digestive system has not been working properly for a long time, if they start the products and they start the ProBio 5, then it can cause a backup if they are not having regular bowel movements. And I know people are like, ooh, she's talking about poop, but you have to talk about those things with your customers. You have to let them know that the Probio 5 kills off the bad bacteria in our system as well as replaces the good bacteria, and that when they kill that bad bacteria off, that they want to get it out of their system. You don't want it sitting around in there to fester and be reabsorbed by the body. And if the body is not eliminating properly, you're going to have weight gain from that. Females can hold up to 8 pounds of waste, and males can hold up to 25 pounds of waste. So part of the process of getting healthy is making sure that elimination is happening the way it's supposed to. You eat 3 meals a day, you need to be eliminating to accommodate that. So make sure you're talking to your customers about that. Put it as delicately as you need to. One of our Diamond Ambassadors says it this way: if you have 3 cars that go into the car wash, you need 3 cars coming out of the car wash. So put it however you need to put it to make you comfortable, but you need to be sure that you're letting your customers know about that facet of it so that they are not killing off a ton of bacteria and then keeping it in their body. They need to be eliminating it, and also drinking the recommended amount of water will help with that. So when someone comes to you and says, I want a refund or I want a return, it's not working for me, do not accept that in the beginning. Talk them through it. Ask them questions, the things that I've told you to ask about. Ask about if they're taking the products regularly, if they are drinking their water as they're supposed to. Find out how they're taking the products to make sure they're taking them properly in the way they're recommended. And also, another thing is that really is helpful is to not start people off on too many things. The triplex is great to start with. The vitamin is great too. But I would never recommend, okay, start the triplex and take our vitamin and here's block and oh, here, you need the accelerator or the boost. Because then there's so much, they're introducing so many new things into their body, and their body can kind of be like, oh, whoa, what's going on, So you don't want to do that. Starting out slow is better. And I started out with the triplex. It's what I began with. It's what I was very successful on before I started boost or before I added in block. And I do not take block all the time. So just be slow in recommending products. I would always start with the triplex for sure. And, if people are not loving the price, have them start with the slim. But just, shy away from introducing too many products at once, because then you're not really sure what's causing them problems if they're having issues. And it helps make it a lot easier to troubleshoot. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. And as always, if you have any questions or need any clarification, you can ask me. This is December 1st, so let's go and end this year great. Thanks, team.